جاءتهم البينات ولكن اختلفوا أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. تلك الرسل فضلنا بعضهم على بعض، منهم من كلم الله ورفع بعضهم درجات، وآتينا عيسى ابن مريم البينات وأيدناه بروح القدس، ولو شاء الله ما اقتتل الذين من بعدهم من بعد ما جاءتهم البينات ولكن اختلفوا فمنهم من آمن ومنهم من كفر، ولو شاء الله ما اقتتلوا ولكن الله يفعل ما يريد. يا أيها الذين آمنوا أنفقوا مما رزقناكم من قبل أن يأتي يوم أنفقوا مما رزقناكم من قبل أن يأتي يوم لا بيع فيه ولا خلة ولا شفاعة والكافرون هم الظالمون. الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم، لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم، له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض. من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه، يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم، ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء، وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. لا إكراه في الدين، قد تبين الرشد من الغي، فمن يكفر بالطاغوت ويؤمن بالله فقد استمسك بالعروة الوثقى لا انفصام لها، والله سميع عليم. الله ولي الذين آمنوا يخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور، والذين كفروا أولياؤهم الطاغوت يخرجونهم من النور إلى الظلمات، أولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون. ألم تر إلى الذي حاج إبراهيم في ربه أن آتاه الله الملك، إذ قال إبراهيم ربي الذي يحيي ويميت، قال أنا أحيي وأميت. قال إبراهيم فإن الله يأتي بالشمس من المشرق فأت بها من المغرب، فبهت الذي كفر والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين. أو كالذي مر على قرية وهي خاوية على عروشها قال أنى يحيي هذه الله بعد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Dear Mu'mineen and Mu'minat, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I welcome you on the sixth day of the holy month of Ramadan, which is another day full of blessing. Sorry, there is a bit of noise. My apologies. Another day of the holy month of Ramadan with a lot of blessings. And inshallah, you are embarking this journey of the first 10 days with great energy and spiritual potential. Again, this month is about making ourselves elevated in the way of Allah, obeying and attaining that piety and taqwa that is helpful for us to become a better human being in the purpose of our creation. So just to remind everyone, the time for Sahur this morning will be 5:44 a.m. and the time for Fajr is 5:54 a.m. Maghrib tonight will be 7:54 p.m. inshallah. So today we are having a bit of change in our sequence of the program. So we will start with the lecture, the talk by Sayyid Muhammad Al-Mudarrisi, similar to how we had for Brother Talib Al-Bayati for last 5 mornings. So we will have his talk for now. And we will start with that talk and then we will continue our program. My apologies. My apologies, there's a bit of delay due to some technical reasons. So inshallah, we will have a discussion before we start the lecture. One of the upcoming events in the history of Islam is 10th of the holy month of Ramadan, which is coming in a few days. So which is the death anniversary of Umm al-Mumineen, Sayyidah Khadijatul Kubra, Salamun alayha, the wife of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And inshallah, we will remember that day as a special day. And there is 15th of the holy month of Ramadan, which is the birth of Imam Hassan ibn Ali alayhi salatu wasalam. Again, another great happy day in coming few days. So these were the two historic events that we have in coming days. So now we will move to the talk by Sayyid Muhammad al-Mudarrisi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيد الخلائق أجمعين الحبيب المصطفى الهادي الأمين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم كل وليك الحجة بن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا نتمتع فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. قال الله العظيم في محكم كتابه الكريم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has extended our life to be able once more to worship Him, to fast for Him. In the month of Ramadan, the month of redemption from hellfire. When we see at the supplication of Imam Zayn al-Abidin salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, and how he speaks about the month of Ramadan when he says, وَمَا أَسْعَدَ مَنْ رَأَى حُرْمَتَكَ. Imam Zayn al-Abidin says in regard of this month, oh, how fortunate is the one who preserved your sanctity. Of course, this dua is towards the end of the month of Ramadan. And it's a beautiful dua. If any of you mu'mineen want to recite it, I think during or at the end of, towards the end of the month, it'll be very beneficial. But when we ponder and think about this dua that Imam Salamullah alayhi says, وَمَا أَسْعَدَ مَنْ رَأَى حُرْمَتَكَ بِكَ السلام عليك ما كان أمحاك للذنوب وأسترك لأنواع العيوب السلام عليك ما كان أطولك على المجرمين وأهيبك في صدور المؤمنين. He says, oh, how fortunate is the one who preserved your sanctity. And Imam Salamullah alayhi says that وَمَا كَانَ أَمْحَاكَ لِلذُّنُوبِ, how this month erased the sins of the mu'mineen and cleared them from their previous mistakes, and how this month was prolonged for the wrongdoers, and how this month was elevated and honored by the mu'mineen. Inshallah, we'll be among the mu'mineen who honor this month. The month of Ramadan, fasting in general, it's a form of a worship. But unlike other worship that we usually do things like salats, like zakat, like umrah, like hajj, like ziyarah, this is actually not doing things, and specifically things that are usually halal will become haram during the day of month of Ramadan. This reminds me of something that a lot of mu'mineen should do at least once in their life, and that is Hajj. Upon entering the holy city of Mecca, you cannot enter that city but to have ihram on, no matter who you are. Even children, they need to have ihram on. Ladies, young, old, doesn't matter. And with ihram, things that are permissible become haram. Things that we usually do becomes prohibited. And when you enter that form of ihram, you put that ihram on, you do the talbiyah, those certain things that, as simple as scratching yourself, as simple as looking yourself in a mirror, as simple as want to be presentable, want to put some perfume on, those things will become prohibited and haram. And it's a form of submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A form of saying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm fully submitted to you. This month, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says in his khutbah, دُعِيتُمْ إِلَى ضِيَافَةِ اللَّهِ. You have been invited by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَكُنْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ أَهْلِ الْكَرَامَةِ. You'll be considered as noble, as honored to be invited at this month. And of course, we all know everyone will endure the month of Ramadan. Everyone will, doesn't matter if he's a Muslim, if he's not a Muslim, will live through these days of month of Ramadan. But it's a difference between someone who lived through month of Ramadan and someone who fast and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which are the people who invited to be the guest of honor upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So with this comes strings attached, that things that are usually halal will become haram. As simple as eating and drinking. It's a form of submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's like putting your whole focus on worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know how some people see it as this to be a disrespectful thing to when someone, an honored guest, or you are upon a king and you are an honored guest and you are just eating and drinking, and it's like in your normal days, going upon your normal days. Imam Sadiq salawatullahi wa salam alayhi. Truly this hadith needs to be resonated with everyone. لا يكن يوم صيامك كيوم فطرك. Don't let the days that you are fasting be like the days you are not fasting, like your normal days. When we fast, we want to say that we elevate ourselves from these worldly things. We want to strengthen our behavior towards things that is halal. So after, our soul and our will be stronger towards something that is haram. So if I withheld myself from doing something that I usually did, when I see something haram, I will be training myself, my soul, to turn away from it. And with this, of course, we need to cleanse, like a hadith says, صوموا تصحوا. Even in terms of our body, when we fast, there's a different form of fast for a lot of people. They do it as a diet, not as a form of worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But that comes as a bonus as well. Of someone becomes healthier, he cleansed his body. And we need to cleanse our souls as well with this. That the way to perfect our siyam is to break our fasts on something that is halal. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, وَكُلُّ الْحَلَالَ يَتُمُّ لَكُمْ صَوْمُكُمْ, that break your fasts, eat the halal, so you perfect your siyam. And in another hadith, he says that if someone worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but still eats haram, it's like building a structure upon the sands. So it will have no foundation. It will tremble. There was this thief, they say, who lived in one of the holy cities. And they say he was really good at what he does. And no one could have stopped him, because that's how good he was, and took that as a profession. They say, but during the month of Ramadan, he held the sanctity of the month of Ramadan. He would go to the seminary, to Hawza, and ask the talaba over there, the students of knowledge. He asked them for money. And he was well known. And they would tell him, but don't you have money? He says, I do have money. I sure do. But my money is not halal. I don't want to break the sanctity of this month and breaking my fast on something that is haram. So therefore, I ask of you to give me a few coins of your halal money. And what they will give him, of course, a few dinars or dirhams for him to buy something to break his fasts. One day, they said that, let's see how serious he is about this. And will he not break his fasts if we don't give him money? So the next day when he came and asked them for money, they said that we will not give you anything. And they waited and saw from distance and observed what he will do. For hours upon hours, he just stood there thirsty and hungry and didn't break his fast because he refused, because he already everyone knows whether what he has it's halal or not, whether he gave the khumus, the zakat of his money or not. أن الإنسان على نفسه بصيرة ولو ألقى معاذيره. There is no excuse between yourself and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, and they, of course, at the end, they show some compassion to him and gave him a few dirhams and money for him to buy something to break his fast. And the scholar who actually narrates this story, he says that after a while, he left that ways of him thieving and getting his money, and he repented to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, all forgiving, and they saw him becoming a mu'min. When a person sees there's a lot of people who are fasting, he will be encouraged, of course, but he wants to be the best. And I gave an example in regard of Hajj. Someone by the name of Abu Basir came to Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam during the Hajj, And at that time, apparently there was a big crowd. Of course, people are visiting the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and performing pilgrimage and doing Hajj. And he was excited and said to Imam Salamullah alayhi, ما أكثر الحجيج وأعظم الضجيج. The numbers of Hujjaj, the pilgrims, are great, and their noise is a lot. So Imam turned to him and told him that ما أكثر الضجيج وأقل الحجيج. There's a lot of people, you think, that are actually doing Hajj, performing Hajj, but they are actually not. Their intention, their niyyah is corrupted. The way they gain their money is corrupted. And he says that ما أقل الحجيج وأكثر الضجيج. The pilgrims are not in great in numbers, the actual pilgrims. The noise is a lot, but not many pilgrims. Imam Zil Abidin, salawatullahi wa salam alayh. And I will leave you with two narration from Imam Zil Abidin. One of how he performed fasting, salawatullahi wa salam alayh. That he would order and buy a sheep, he will slaughter it, skin it, cook it, and tell the people to bring their pots and giving it to Ali Fulan and Ali Fulan and Ali Fulan. And the end of the day, he would break his fast on a piece of bread and a few dates. With this, Imam Salamullah alayhi teaches us to not to always think about ourselves, not to, when we fast, we encounter hunger, we need to remember the people who are suffering as well. Anyone that is hungry, doesn't matter what background, what religion, what race he is, we need to think about them, help them. And when we break our fast, one of the things that we say usually, Allahumma laka sumtu wa ala rizqika aftart. Oh Allah, I have been fasting for you, and I broke my fasts on the rizq that you have given me, and that rizq should be halal. And with this hadith, I conclude my talk tonight, that Imam Zain al-Abidin salawatullahi wa salamu alayh said in a beautiful hadith, من قرأ إنا أنزلناه عند فطوره وعند سحوره كان فيما بينهما كالمتشحط بدمه في سبيل الله. Whoever recites Surah Inna Anzalnah, we have learned and as a custom to recite that before we break our fast. But the hadith says not just that, during your suhoor as well. كان كالمتشحط بدمه في سبيل الله. It's like someone who spent the time between the breaking his fast and the dawn, soaked in his blood, the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us one of those true صائمين. إنه ولي التوفيق وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطاهرين.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Welcome back, everyone, Mu'mineen and Mu'minat. Thank you again for joining us. And we had the talk by Sayyid Muhammad al-Mudarrisi for this morning, and from now on we will have his presence for a few days with us. And inshallah, you will get benefit from these lectures and these talks. So inshallah, we will continue. We were discussing about a letter of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam to one of his close companions. So I'm translating and reading some bits. So this was actually translated by one of the scholars from Arabic to Urdu, and now I'm trying to share it with you in English. So my apologies due to the lackness of my own vocabulary. So we'll start. Imam says that it is compulsory upon you that you train your nafs, that you train your soul for whether it is your action or it is your intention, that you should not do anything that is haram by Allah in action or even in your intention, because there is no doubt that whoever will take in this dunya from those things which are considered, which are declared as haram by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on the day of judgment, Allah will create between him and the Jannah and the heavens, and the ni'mat of heavens, all the bounties of heavens, the pleasures and the statuses. So it uses the words of lazat wa karamat. And those haram actions and intentions will stand between him and those rewards in the hereafter, in the akhirah. So Allah will come between you and your Jannah. So those gaps, that gap will be created. And learn about that the one who is the most fortunate is the one who obeys Allah. And the one who is the most unfortunate is the one who disobeys Allah by using his own given authority. So this is again a beautiful notion that we have to think about, that someone who does any act in disobedience of Allah, in being transgressor, for example, like people do lie as a habit, or people do use bad language as a habit. I mean, of course, God forbid, not you. So that is again done by the authority that is given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hence, the pleasures of the world that have been declared, that has been given as haram by Allah, attaining them, doing those actions, or like living that lifestyle, will create an eternal gap between the pleasures and the bounties of the hereafter. So people who will trade, let me use this word, who will trade the pleasures of this world, which are again haram clearly, then they will be left with the pleasures that are going to be eternal, that are going to be never ending. So remember, the pleasures of this world are temporal and they do finish after a while. Like for example, you even talking about the halal pleasures, like if someone buys a new car, there is a lot of pleasure and excitement about that piece of vehicle for a few days, but after that, that pleasure dies down. So that's the nature of this world. But in the hereafter, the pleasures are ever increasing. So imagine that happiness of getting something in the hereafter is not going to come to an end, rather it will increase. So that's the difference between uh, the pleasures of this world and the hereafter. So, and then Imam further says that for those who nurture those haram actions and mindsets and intentions in this world, wail is for them. It is a kind of punishment of hellfire. And how unfortunate is he or she, and how in loss is someone who does that kind of trade with Allah, and how ill resulted is that person that will come in front of his Lord in that state. So further Imam says, I'll conclude with the last few sentences, that you should ask refuge from Allah, that He never ever makes you in that state and never ever puts you in a trial that was put in such a person that they cannot handle. So inshallah, with these words, we will go for, and yeah, just a last word, that neither we have the power or the strength, neither we have the source to keep away except with the fazl and with the intercession to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He is the refuge for all of us. So may Allah give us protection from those trials and those actions that can result us in that bad state after we die. And inshallah, with these words, we will go to Dua Sahar.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم إني أسألك من بحائك بأبحاه وكل بحائك بكي اللهم إني أسألك ببحائك كله اللهم إني أسألك من جمالك بأجمله وكل جمالك جميل اللهم إني أسألك بجمالك كله اللهم إني أسألك من جلالك بأجله وكل جلالك جليل اللهم إني أسألك بجلالك كله اللهم إني أسألك من عظمتك بأعظمها بعظمتك عظيما. اللهم إني أسألك بعظمتك كل. اللهم إني أسألك من نورك بأنواره وكل نورك نير. اللهم إني أسألك بنورك كله. اللهم إني أسألك من رحمتك بأوسعها وكل رحمتك واسعة. اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك كل. اللهم إني أسألك من كلماتك بأتمنا وكل كلماتك تامة. اللهم إني أسألك بكلماتك كلها. اللهم إني أسألك من كمالك بأكمله وكل كمالك كامل. اللهم إني أسألك بكمالك كله. اللهم إني أسألك من أسمائك بأكبرها وكل أسمائك كبيرا. اللهم إني أسألك بأسمائك كلها. اللهم إني أسألك من عزتك بعظام وكل عزتك عزيزا. اللهم إني أسألك بعزتك كلها. اللهم إني أسألك من مشيئتك بأمزاها وكل مشيئتك ماضيا. اللهم إني أسألك بمشيئتك كلها. اللهم إني أسألك من قدرتك بالقدرة التي استطلت بها على كل شيء وكل قدرتك مستطيلا. اللهم إني أسألك بقدرتك كلها. اللهم إني أسألك من علمك بأنفذه وكل علمك نافذ. اللهم إني أسألك بعلمك كله. اللهم إني أسألك من قولك بأرزاهم وكل قولك رضي. اللهم إني أسألك بقولك كله. اللهم إني أسألك من مسائلك بأحبها إليك وكل مسائلك إليك حبيبا. اللهم إني أسألك بمسائلك كلهم. اللهم إني أسألك من شرفك بأشرفه وكل شرفك شريف. اللهم إني أسألك بشرفك كله. اللهم إني أسألك من سلطانك بأدومه وكل سلطانك دائم. اللهم إني أسألك بسلطانك كله. اللهم إني أسألك من ملكك بأفخره وكل ملكك فاخر. اللهم إني أسألك بملكك كله. اللهم إني أسألك من علوك بأعلاهم وكل علوك اللهم إني أسألك بعلوك كله. اللهم إني أسألك من منك بأقدمه وكل منك قديم. اللهم إني أسألك بمنك كله. اللهم إني أسألك من آياتك بأكرمها وكل آياتك كريما. اللهم إني أسألك بآياتك كلهم. اللهم إني أسألك بما أنت فيه من الشان والجبروت، وأسألك بكل شان وحده وجبروت وحدهم. اللهم إني أسألك بما تجيبني به أسألك فأجبني يا الله.
We welcome you back in this program, and inshallah we will go to the daily dua for today, and I have the dua to share with you. So we'll start. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma la tukhzilni fihi لترضي معاصيتك ولا تضربني بسيئات نقمتك. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. So we will do the translation now. O Allah, on this day, please do not disappoint me by allowing me to expose myself to the acts of disobedience to you. And do not beat me with the whips of your punishment. And please take me out on this day from the acts that bring about your your displeasure, out of your favoring and bounties, O the ultimate goal of the desires of the desirers. So inshallah, we will read the dua once again. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma la تخذلني فيه لترضي معاصيتك ولا تضربني بسيئات نقمتك وزحزحني فيه من موجبات سخطك بمنك وإيادك يا منتهى رغبة الراغبين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. So we will, inshallah, it's almost time for the Fajr Azan. And I want to thank all of you, those who have joined us this morning. And we will, inshallah, continue with this program tomorrow, same time. And we'll see you tomorrow around the same time, inshallah, 5 a.m. in the morning. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن عليًا ولي الله. أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين عليًا ولي الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله عليك وعلى آلك الطيبين الطاهرين والحمد لله رب العالمين.